A report has surfaced that the Toronto Blue Jays are looking at making a potential trade with the St. Louis Cardinals for an outfielder, and Teoscar Hernandez also on the trading block. So I'm going to break that down and much more in this episode of Jays Digest. What's up, Jays fans? Nick Gassi, your host of Blue Jays Digest. And let's just get right into it. Shai Davidi, a Blue Jays reporter, came out with an article, I believe it was today or yesterday, and there was some very interesting news that dropped in it. So I'm going to pop up the first screenshot here, which is regarding Teoscar Hernandez. So when discussing a trade, which I'll bring up shortly, Hernandez is one name to watch either way, as Springer, who suffered a concussion and a shoulder sprain in his collision with Bichette on Saturday and will be soon be cleared for travel, may be better off in right field instead of center. So that's from Shai Davidi. He is referring to a potential trade. So I'll pop this up as well. A left-handed hitting or left-hander or switching center fielder would be ideal, and one could perhaps be acquired with their surplus of catchers. The St. Louis Cardinals, set to lose their retiring Yadier Molina, have Dylan Carlson and right fielder Lars Nootbar, and make for an interesting potential match. So, two key pieces of information relating to the same thing. So, the Jays clearly have, at least according to Shai Davidi, have some sort of inclination or a desire to make a potential trade with the St. Louis Cardinals, as it could be a potential match. Now, I'll just get right into it and say Dylan Carlson and Lars Nootbaar would be two phenomenal options. We obviously need a left-handed bat, with Dylan Carlson being a switch hitter and Lars Nootbaar being a left-handed hitter. This could be really good. I'll get into their stats and stuff. I will break that whole part down in a second, but getting into the Teoscar Hernandez thing, very interesting to me. I'm going to pop it up one more time. So obviously you said Hernandez is a name to watch, as Springer may be better off in right field instead of center. So obviously we have a feeling that at some point, probably not this year, well maybe according to Shai Davidi, but maybe not this year, but one piece of our core is going to have to go, whether it's Lourdes or Teoscar. I believe something will change. So, and my guess would be, like he said, Teoscar Hernandez. I'd rather see Lourdes go, but obviously Teoscar has much more value than Lourdes Gurriel. So, from the Cardinals side of things, would they want Teoscar Hernandez? Probably not. Well, they would want him, yes, but I don't think they would trade Carlson or Lars Nootbaar for Teoscar, obviously, because the two mentioned by the Cardinals are much younger and just have a lot more potential. Now, what the interesting thing is, Dylan Carlson, obviously great. I believe he was third in Rookie of the Year voting last year, or 2 years ago. I believe 2 years ago. But catchers, as stated here, Yadier Molina is obviously retiring. Dylan Carlson and Lars Nootbaar, but Yadier Molina retiring. Now, Jays fan, as the Blue Jays, we have an excess of catchers. We have Gabby Moreno, we have Danny Jansen, and we have Alejandro Kirk. The question that comes now is, who are you willing to give up out of one of these three? Because one of these three, unless Gabby turns into a third baseman or an outfielder, in which case that diminishes his value anyways, because a catcher obviously has more value than a third baseman, for example, if they're hitting the same. You'd want to trade one for pitching. Now, pitching, or I guess a left-handed bat, but either way we're going to need to get pitching. But if we give up Alejandro Kirk, for example, give him to the Cardinals, and they give us back, who I guess Carlson, Lars Nootbaar, and someone else, or depending what the trade is. Obviously, I'm not going to get into a full. We'll have a trade, potential trades coming up soon in the videos. But the question is then, well, do the Cardinals do it? Because as you can see here, so this is Lars Nootbaar, who is a lefty right fielder. He had a 2.2 wins above replacement this year. Obviously, in his it's the second year in the league, 103 OPS plus first year, 126 with a 228 average, which is a bit low, but a great on base and a great slugging. Also, his baseball savant statistics are off the charts. He is bound for a breakout year, Lars Nootbaar, and he would slide in perfectly. He could easily slide into the outfield as a left-handed power bat. Now, we've talked before about how we need a left-handed power bat. This would be a phenomenal move. Do I think we get him? Maybe. But things would have to line up. The Cardinals, do they opt to just keep the young Dylan Carlson and the young Lars Nootbaar and instead go for a different catcher? Or like a catcher is cheaper than giving up those two? Probably. But if they call the Jays or the Jays call them and they're interested in Danny Jansen or Alejandro Kirk or Gabby as their potential catcher replacement for Yadi, it begs an interesting question, especially from the Blue Jays perspective, because Danny Jansen had a career year. Is that sustainable? We don't know. What I do know is that I I'm of the team that we trade one of our catchers, or Gabby, I consider him one of our catchers. He was on the playoff roster, for pitching. We get pitching, and then we figure out the rest. But Dylan Carlson and Lars Nootbar would fit perfectly. I'll throw up Dylan's stats here. Yeah, so it's 2021. So it was last year. He won Rookie of the Year, third place, and look at these stats. So obviously his first year as a true rookie, only 35 games. Obviously didn't have a great year. The next year, 115 OPS plus. He is a switch hitting outfielder, and then he had a solid year last year. I would prefer Lars Nootbar, best name in baseball, but best name in baseball. But like I said, the question is then what it takes to acquire him. So it's something to look out for. We'll have a video. Me and Peter will have a video breaking down potential trades coming up soon. This will probably be in the center focus of it, and it's really interesting because they need catchers. St. Louis does. But do we want to give up a catcher for an outfielder, or do we want to use it for pitching? That I don't know. Quickly touching up on the Teoscar Hernandez thing, this is very interesting. I don't know if it would be a trade with the Cardinals that Teoscar would be a part of necessarily. But maybe, yeah, I don't think it would be the Cardinals necessarily. But again, it might be. It's interesting that Hernandez is the one reportedly at least, to potentially be on the trading block, which makes sense, obviously. But I would hate to see Teo go, unless it's for a significant upgrade, whether that's pitching or hitting. But it's hard to get much better in Teo hitting wise. So maybe they give Teo up for a pitcher and then trade our catchers for a St. Louis outfielder and go from there. I don't know. And a bit worrisome as well about the George Springer outfield thing. I don't know how much confidence they have in keeping him in center. Maybe they try to move him, like Shai said, into right or left field to preserve his body, because he's obviously had an extremely injury-plagued year. Well, I guess career with the Blue Jays. He's been phenomenal, but he's been injury-plagued. So it's a really, really interesting dynamic. Now, me personally, what would I like to see? I would have to see, because obviously I don't know why the Cardinals would want to give up Dylan Carlson or Lars Nootbar. Both of them young, both of them prime. Again, Dylan was Rookie of the Year 3, his third Rookie of the Year last year. Third in voting. So why would they give up a Rookie of the Year candidate, obviously third place, but for a catcher, unless it's Alejandro Kirk? And then from our perspective, is that worth it? Or would you rather save Kirk if you were to trade him? If he was to go, wouldn't you rather trade him for pitching, an elite starting pitcher, or pitcher plus bullpen pieces? And then the question begs, is Kirk for Carlson? Would the Cardinals even do that? Maybe? Or Kirk for Lars Nootbar? So it's a complicated mess. Obviously, it was interesting that this report came out, especially the Teoscar Hernandez thing, because obviously we speculated that he might be on the block, because something's going to change eventually. And Teo's a bit older than the rest of our core. Him and Lourdes are around the same age, but obviously older than Bo and Vladdy. But we're not trading Vladdy or Bo, so it's a very, very intriguing discussion. And again, it's going to be an exciting offseason. This report was shout out to Shadavidi. Again, it was wild. The Teoscar Hernandez thing again was the thing that just really made me want to make a video on it, because that's interesting, and it's going to be a wild offseason. So I'm excited to see what's next for the Jays. As our video stated yesterday, the bullpen and pitching should be priority, and we also definitely need a left-handed bat in there. And Lars Nootbar, man, he's prime for a breakout year. I wouldn't be shocked if he hits 280 with a 130 OPS plus next year. He is just young and he's prime, ready to go. Good defender. He would be a great fit. But obviously, you have to give up stuff to get things. So we'll have to give up great players in order to get great players, and it's all about fit. And the Cardinals have to want to do the deal too. So we'll, if anything else comes from this report, we'll be sure to make a video on it. But we are on the road to 1K subscribers. Appreciate all the support. The videos are doing really well. So keep supporting and let me know in the comments what you guys want to, what kind of content you guys want to see. We're gonna keep pumping out the news videos. Obviously, the World Series is going on, and Jays are not a part of it, but we can still have a fun off season, and and make content around what we do have, which is the offseason to look forward to, and hopefully the Jays make some moves. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoy. Cheers.